Cameroonians are still counting their blessings and naming them one by one after celebration marking the 51st edition of our National Day.
What caught my attention was the Egyptian military that came, but presenting songs. It was good.
Something that stood out to me was the affection that the First Lady showed her husband.
And still to come in this edition of our 2pm newscast in our society page, we talk the landlord tenant wahala as we look at means for cohabitation between the two. In sports, Cotton Sport of Garwa has been crowned champion of the Elite One Championship in Cameroon for the 18th time. Details whenever Tuesday join me in the studio with our Monday Sport 5. Good afternoon once again. My name is Abel Bella Samari. We will open our news to talk about the 51st edition of our National Day.
The 51st edition of the National Day, our special page in the news.
Our special page in the news will take us to tell you that Saturday, May the 20th, mark 51 day of national unity. Celebrations in Cameroon expresses its security and cultural diversity during the annual parade at the 20th May Boulevard. Ivan Williams Jobati revisited the civilian and the military march past that took place on that fateful Saturday as Cameroonians celebrate the 20th of May.
Marking a colorful entry alongside the presidential motorcade, Security President Paul Biya arrived at the 20th May Boulevard by noon, with the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Betty Asomo, welcoming him. After properly observing the national symbols and anthem, Paul Biya was then led to the grandstand where First Lady Miss Chantal Biya, cabinet members and other diplomatic personalities stood there waiting for him. Under the special invitation of the head of state, the military detachment band from Egypt opened the ceremony with a majesterial carousel parade for about 15 minutes, with the President of the Republic making a standing ovation to show that the strong ties between Cairo and Yaoundé remain there. At about 12:15 p.m., the commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Buba Dobekero, commanded the defense and security forces march past in front of the commander-in-chief Paul Biya, who continued to observe the standing ovation. Then came the civilian parade, full of colorful messages expressing unity from thousands of people, students and members of the political parties. Leaving the parade ground, the President of the Republic congratulated the commander of the 51st National Parade before heading for the Unity Palace at about 1:45 p.m. for the rest of the ceremony.
Evans William Jobati in that report, and 2 days after the 20th May celebration that mark the complement with the march parts of both the civilian and armed forces at the 20th May Boulevard here in Yaoundé. Our newsroom sought to know from some Cameroonians what they retain from the 20th May celebration here in Yaoundé. Take a listen to what they have to say in the following vox pop.
What caught my attention was the Egyptian military that came, but presenting songs. It was good. We are used to the issue of foreign partners coming to match, but this time around it was not foreign partners coming to match. They were coming to present some songs which were very, very interesting. It's true that at one point we had rains, which might be considered as showers of blessings. So to me, it was good. And our head of state was strong and clapping, energetic enough, encouraging those who were marching.
What really stood out to me during this 20th May was the performance by the Egyptians. The Egyptian military band did a wonderful job because we were celebrating the 51st edition of our Unity Day. They also made a symbol of 51 on the ground with their positioning. Something else that stood out to me was the affection that the First Lady showed her husband.
Fine, I did not even see it because they were finished and then there will be no innovations, nothing interesting in it, nothing will change in the country. So me, I see it will be boring to see people parading every time when nothing is changing in the country.
And Cameroonians expressing their view after celebration marking the 51st edition of our National Day. The 51st anniversary of Unitary State has been celebrated across the nation under the watchful eyes of the head of state, President Paul Biya, who congratulated various ministries and services who were highly engaged in the celebration of the 20th May. In this regard, our reporter Jementa sought to know the reaction of some political parties, militants, and sample their view in the following report.
Yakubu Jikam is of the Cameroon's People Democratic Movement and has highly applauded the head of state move, describing it as a form of encouraging Cameroonians to advocate a nation building.
They should continue with their professionalism. They should continue with the love for the nation, because what is fundamental in those congratulation messages is that they are called upon by the head of state to continue serving the nation in a patriotic way. And choosing the National Day to do that was a direct message. And I think those who were congratulated should really use that opportunity to question themselves on how they are serving the nation and how they are promoting unity and living togetherness in their various services.
Wumi Yibekra of the Social Democratic Front appraised the congratulation message from President Paul Biya, but believes his message will have a positive impact if he improves the living conditions of his fellow compatriots.
It is a marvelous thing and a good thing for a head of state to acknowledge, to congratulate his citizens each time they do things or they do anything that good. Like, only congratulating may give the impression that you are just blindfolding people. You must change the style of living of those people, and when you change your standard, the congratulatory message will have a meaning. I think it's a good thing, but most especially he must come out with strategy on how to better off the lives of especially the ordinary Cameroonian.
To this other political actor, a wind of change must blow in Cameroon.
As a political actor, we have our ideology, the community federalism. We think it is time that we have to rewrite our history. We have to rewrite the social contract that will involve all the identities, all the various ethnic groups.
Even though these political parties, militants share divergent points of views on President Paul Biya's congratulation message, they however hold tight to national unity.
Jementa, editor-in-chief in that report. And after the march past ceremony at the Yaoundé May the 20th Boulevard, President Paul Biya and wife Chantal Biya offer a dinner to the Cameroonian people, and Cameroonians from all different walks of life and girls were present at the banquet hall of the Unity Palace to celebrate the feast of national unity. Take a listen to Archbishop Andrew Kerr of the Bamenda Metropolitan Diocese, Honorable Kupit Adamu, Honorable Tabor Lawson, and Thomas Messi in the following vox pop.
I feel like a true Cameroonian, and on a day like this, we are looking at our country and we are proud to be who we are. And I think this is a very important thing for each one to feel at home in this beautiful land that God has given us.
I'm also happy to be here and to make sure that the president is there and look forward for the building of our country with we all. I mean, shaking hands with the head of state, you don't know what it means. When I gave my hand and he took it, I felt like not leaving it.
It's the first time to me to be here, and I'm with the president of the Republic of Cameroon. I'm very glad. The president is very strong and it makes me very confident.
Another aspect on the 20th May celebration, this time religion, to say that after Cameroonians celebrated national unity, marking the stability of the country, pertinent questions have been centered around religious activities taking part in the consolidation of national unity. Picking up this diverse way from Pastor Ivo of the Light World Mission International, he hinted us on how their church went on as far as consolidating a national unity in Cameroon during the 20th of May.
Our General Superintendent, the Reverend Dr. Samuel Leslie, organized a conference which edified workers in the house of God, people from different parts of the country, empowering young Cameroonians, encouraging national unity, and preaching against division. He does that all the time. So it is a common practice in Light World Mission International Church. And last week we paid particular attention because it was National Week. I will say it that way. So a lot of activities have been going on, and so it's a beautiful thing. We don't stop doing important activities to build national unity and to promote peace in our country.
Another pastor that has aired his view concerning the living together of Cameroonians as we celebrate the 51st edition of the National Day is Reverend Pastor Bisa Emmanuel Noy, speaking on Friday over Royal 88.4 FM in the program Ekumba Royal. Reverend Pastor Bisa Emmanuel Noy reaffirmed that national unity is a plus for all Cameroonians.
For us, this celebration should be done with much more alert. As Cameroonians, we should know that if each and every one of us gets involved with a patriotic heart, this country shall be celebrated, not only in the continent, but also in the world. God has blessed us. Let's simple, remain humble, and stick to one another, because God was not mad to place us in this country. God has placed us here so that together let's burst out these great riches that will make the pride of Africans, and we will be able to share with others.
Asks if our cultural diversity can be a cause for political vendetta if no well handled. This is what he has to say.
Yes, very correct. It can be a setback when there is no regulation to reinforce it. The only issue here is to find the best possible mechanism, because our cultural diversity is riches bestowed upon us. We are called upon not only to sell these riches internally, but also externally. The only issue we can do as of now is to organize it in a way that we can continue to have a peaceful life, so that national unity will exist forever.
Reverend Pastor Bisa Emmanuel Noy called on the church to be united even in their teaching as a first means of consolidating national unity.
Je crois que l'Église joue son rôle.
I think the church is playing its role. The only issue is for us to revisit our different messages, because as you know, if we at the base are not united, even in terms of doctrine, it will be very difficult for us to attain unity. But in general, to tell you, the church is playing its vital role to contribute to national unity.
Pour contribuer à la promotion de l'unité nationale.
The 51st edition of the National Day. That was our special page in the news.
You are listening to Royal Afternoon Edition, the 2 p.m. newscast, coming to you from Royal 88.4 FM. And still to come in the course of this newscast, we'll take you to talk about landlords and tenant relationship.
Sometimes we do not even recognize the bill because it is evaluated compared to what we consume in the house. It's as if I'm paying it alone. Meanwhile, we have to share the bill.
We'll take you to talk about this Avitoria, that is this publicity, a new platform known as BIDE, aimed at rendering transportation services, has been officially presented to the public. This was during a meeting that took place yesterday by the Chief Executive Officer of that structure, Baronet Sale, Michelle Njong. Finwe Crispin attended that meeting and put together the following report for us.
Individual drivers as well as representatives of several transporters trade unions turn out massively to discover the new transport platform, BIDE. Michael Njok is CEO of this platform.
BIDE is beyond drive. Just for a ride-hailing platform, like a kind of platform for mediation between drivers and passengers.
BIDE also comes in as a sort of remedy to the security situation in the transport sector. BIDE provides both customers and drivers with an added layer of safety.
The first thing is the panic button that we have on the passenger side and also on the driver side. So in case that there is a security issue, it could be on the driver side or on the passenger side, they just have to use that panic button. And the other thing is we have the QR code that we put in place for passengers and drivers, just to make sure that they are dealing with the right person.
Moreover, every single Cameroonian can benefit from the services of Byte, no matter the budget at hand, as the CEO explains.
That's what we call the covoiturage, where people share your ride with other people. I think it's called carpooling. Then we have depot, and then you have course. So we have around 5 services, but we have activated 4 for now. It's functional, yeah. Those are functional.
Michael Njok further reveals that any driver can enroll on the platform, but will need to provide these requirements.
A driver should have all his documents and pay some fee. I don't even call it a fee, it's just a subscription. The driver should subscribe, and to subscribe you have to pay 2,000 for the beginning, 24 hours. Yeah.
According to Byte's creator, the platform has been legally approved by the Ministry of Transport and it has been operating in Douala and Yaoundé for the moment. Meanwhile, for those discovering the platform, you could easily download the app Byte Customers or Byte Drivers on Play Store in order to join the crew already enjoying Byte's amazing services.
Finger Crispin in that report, we tell Economic to say the government of Cameroon is working on adjusting the 2023 finance budget so as to benefit from the International Monetary Fund loan. And as government officials are reviewing on how to modify the 2023 budget, our economic reporter Jementa caught up with an economist in the person of Mr. Chenny Constantine to find out about the exigency of IMF. And also, would this budget modification not have an impact on the socio-economic life of Cameroonians? Take a listen to what the economist has to say.
The IMF team was on a visit to Cameroon to check how the state budget is being managed, and the budget for 2023 has to be rectified to meet up with the requirements of the IMF. You know, the International Monetary Fund is an international financial system with headquarters in New York, and the role is to promote trade all over the world, making it possible for currencies to be convertible and lending its resources to countries that are suffering from a balance of payment deficit. In this light, Cameroon is to benefit from $73.8 million, just a bit over 40 billion francs saving. And the idea is that the growth rate of the economy has to jump from 3.7% to 4% in 2023. And the government is supposed to bring down inflation from 7.3% to 5.9%. The government is equally supposed to broaden the tax base to be able to receive enough revenue as much as possible in the country. That is why government had to raise the price of petroleum products. The government is expected to invest in the social sector, particularly in the domain of health and education. And the government is supposed to create an enabling environment so that a greater part of the debt or the money contracted to be put into the reproductive debt, that is, money backed by real assets to finance investments that are profitable. The IMF is calling on the government to be efficient in the way it manages the budget. So we're expecting good governance. We are expecting the fight against corruption to be intensified so that the way forward can be there and Cameroon should grow in the years ahead.
We'll take this note to say today is being observed as the International Day for Biological Diversity 2022 edition to mark this this incredible and historic achievement. The proposal for this year's theme is from agreement to action, build back by diversity. Biological diversity is often understood in terms of wide variety of plants and animals plus microorganisms, but it also includes genetic differences between each species. For one day to another, we'll take you to talk about empowering youth to believe in your dreams, is inviting people to embrace their uniqueness and inspiring them to use joy and laughter as their guide is on the spotlight today as Cameroon joined other nations across the world to celebrate the International Day of Being You under the theme shining on spotlight on atrocity, possibility and joy. But just what do some Cameroonians think about this celebration? Let's get them listening in the following Vox Pop.
I love myself first. I don't do things to please others, but I love myself first because I love to do things that will please me first, to satisfy myself first. Because when I do my work correctly and I'm so happy, it will make me happy. Like example for my job, like I'm a seamstress, so I love to sew. When I sew it correct, and then I'm so happy.
We are in a world that we have to be outside. Everybody is not having the same image of you, and you have to show them what you are not. It's true, but I like to do things to please others, like my dressing habit. I don't really dress like for me. I dress really more sophisticated manner than what I like. So like eating, I eat something that is necessary for my body so that people should like me and people should adore me for that. So I think I do things to please others. So it's my own habit.
We equally sought to know from sociologists why is it important to observe the International Being You Day. This is what Victorine had to say.
The government should provide them with humanitarian assistance like provision of foodstuff and other basic necessities either twice a month or monthly. Secondly, the government should intensify the security forces in the area to help the population. Thirdly, the government should equally ensure that the farm to market routes are good for the population of that area. What is the best strategy? The best strategy is that the government should put in a mechanism that will strengthen and reinforce and sensitize the people of the area against this illegal act by the separatist fighters.
Instead, that was a social thinker in the person of Patriarchy George talking there on the issue of several women that have been held by alleged separatist fighters in Big Babanki, northwest region of Cameroon, for protesting the imposed levy of 5,000 francs CFA per woman in a video circulating over the weekend on social media. One can see some of these women crying for their legs have been shot for not paying, while others were brutalized. The incident, which took place on the eve of National Day, has raised a lot of eyebrow as many wonder on what's the best strategy to help solve the Anglophone crisis. We take you to our society page to say that the phenomenon of queries between landlords and tenants in regards to the bill that have to be paid at the end of the month has become recurrent in our society today. This is due to the fact that on one hand, tenants virtually delay in the payment, and the other hand, landlords who are not honest use it as an opportunity for them to extort money from their tenant. Our lady on that beat is Christian Mando, who caught up with some citizens who recounts the experience in this situation of landlord-tenant when it comes to the payment of bills.
Anita is from an average family living at Ekunu in the capital city. The end of the month is not usually easy for them, this as bills have to be paid. They most at time end with their house in dark, as she explains.
Once we delay to pay light bills, our landlord cuts off the light immediately, like he doesn't give us a little bit of time, like 2 days, 3 days to get money for light. The landlord should try to understand his tenants, like we always pay, but once we don't have, he should understand.
For other tenants like Juliet, it is in quarrels that she usually ends with her landlord, as the bills do not always reflect what she has consumed.
When there is a delay, either concerning water or light, he comes and cut it, and usually finish in quarrel because he doesn't want to understand. And sometimes we do not even recognize the bill because it is evaluated compared to what we consume in the house. It's as if I'm paying it alone. Meanwhile, we have to share the bill, both light and water.
According to Romeo, the main problem is the landlord, who every time tries to control the tenants and linking the bills to personal feelings.
Luckily enough, I don't stay with my landlord in the same quarter. That's the advantage I have. It's lucky because if you live with a landlord in the same place, some of these landlords are nuisance. They tend to monitor our private lives. They tend to see what they're not supposed to see. So for the three landlords I'll be able to deal with, it's very, very cordial. When it comes to light issues, they are not even concerned. For the present situation I find myself, we live in an apartment with other neighbors. When the light bill comes, each of us have submetters.
That said, both the tenants and the landlord are to respect and understand each other as they are called to live together.
Indeed, they are called to live together, and in line with the query between landlords and tenants, Christian Mando sought to know from a legal mind in the person of Mike Abioko, who explained what should be done in this type of situation. Take a listen to him.
It is an implied right that is given to the landlord, just as the company is to cut water supply and light supply to any user who fails to meet the date of payment. Same way with the landlord. The landlord has that right to cut your water supply and your light bill supply if you fail to pay your bills. And will not just come and cut your supply or water supply without giving you the bill to pay and specifying the date. So it is really problematic because many tenants have become so negligent and they feel they are doing a landlord a favor paying bills. Bills is your consumption, and what you consume you should pay. And if you can't pay, automatically means that what? Your light supply and your water supply should be cut off. It's not something which are doing anybody any favor paying the bill.
We'll take you out of the country. First up in Nigeria, where a tribunal in Nigeria has refused to allow live television broadcasts of an opposition challenge to Bola Tinubu's victories in February 5th context presidential election. Lawyers for defeated candidates Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi argued that was in the public interest for the hearing to be broadcast live, but 5 judges unanimously turned down their request. Over in Liberia, the Liberian Electoral Commission says it has begun investigating cases of underage voters registration and duplication of voters registered, which violates the country's electoral law. The National Election Commission said it uncovered the cases during an examination of the voters register following the compilation of data scrutinization from 2 countries. From 2 counties. Liberian law allows only citizens aged 18 and above to vote. We take you to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where several forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo have arrested about 20 people for following Saturday's opposition protests in the capital Kinshasa. In its assessment of the demonstration, the Congolese National Police said the 20 includes individuals who allegedly vandalized the Kenya police station in that country. We come back to talk sport. And in sports, the under-20 Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have been honored second best team after Japan thrashed France by 7-0 during the fourth edition of the South Ladies Cup tournament played in Avignon, France over the weekend. Japan was crowned champions, while Brenda Tabi shares the Golden Boot Award with 2 Japanese players with 3 goals each. Cameroonian goalkeeper Katibia won the best goalkeeper of the tournament. At the end, Cameroon occupied the second spot with 6 points and awarded a silver medal. Still in sport, to tell you that Cotton Sport of Garoua has emerged champion of Cameroon for the 3rd time in a row after defeating 11 times champion Canon Sportif of Yaoundé by 2-0 in the playoff game of the 2022-2023 Elite One Football Championship season, thanks to the goal of Abdurrahman Dama Buba and Patient Wasu before over 24,175 spectators. Waso and Dama gave Cotton Sport of Garoua their 18th title as champion of Cameroon League at the Unification Stadium in Douala. That match took place on the 21st of May 2023. We still talk sport to say, meanwhile, the champions of the 2022-2023 back home were the sum of 50 million francs CFA as cash prize, while Bamboo Tools of Mbuda got 25 million for finishing vice champion. Kanong back home 50 million francs CFA, and newcomer Gazelle FA back home 10 million francs CFA. However, Cotton Sport of Garoua will represent Cameroon during the upcoming CAF Champions League. We'll still talk sport to say that on to Sambo this time. 4 Cameroonian Sambo athletes have emerged African champions and 3 vice champions at the just ended 17th edition of the African Sambo Championship that took place in Casablanca, Morocco, with a total of 9 medals won. Team Cameroon finished second on the general classification table behind host Morocco that presented more athletes. Ratus Nduye will tell us more.
It was a fun-filled moment for the indomitable Lions of Cameroon team of Sambo, who overtook their opponents in the first and second day of the championship, competing in the 72 and 98 kilograms respectively, by ways of knockout to be ranked second on the classification table, below Morocco with 9 medals on their tally, 4 in gold and 3 in silver, 2 in bronze. Maître François Mbassi is president of the confederation.
I feel good because it is not easy to win a title of African champion. But Cameroon won 4 titles of African championship. It is a good result.
Being the defending champions after being stripped off by Morocco in Casablanca during the 17th edition of the African Sambo Championship, the president upholds that they are going to do better to clinch the next trophy in the subsequent editions.
It is a fruit of our work because our vision is to develop, to grow. That is why I am very happy to know that our team, Indomitable Lions of Sambo, will continue to work because before us you have World Championship of Sambo. We are going to work hard in order to have another champion, a world champion.
Another victory for Cameroon was the re-election of the president of the country's Sambo Federation, Maître François Mbassi, as Secretary General of the African Sambo Federation this Friday, May 19. However, the 25 countries who jetted out to Morocco are competing in the beach Sambo before the different delegation bid farewell.
Eratus Nduye in that report, and from Eratus report, let's welcome Grégoire Nsama, who is here with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Good afternoon to you.
Bon après-midi et belle Samari. Reparlons de la sortie médiatique du président du conseil d'administration de Renapro Finance SA sur les antennes de Royal FM le 19 mai dernier. Dans un échange sans tabou, le révérend pasteur Emmanuel Noël Bissa est revenu sur la plus-value qu'incarne la mutuelle d'assistance et de solidarité pour le développement de l'économie locale et l'épanouissement des populations les plus vulnérables. Le pasteur Bissa pasteur et promoteur de la Masso est aussi revenu sur les grandes innovations de l'acte 3 qui se prépare et dont l'apothéose aura lieu le 9 juillet prochain au Palais Polyvalent des Sports de Yaoundé. Société, un phénomène est de plus en plus récurrent chez nous, celui des bailleurs de maisons qui suspendent la fourniture en eau et l'électricité des locataires pour non-paiement de loyer. Comment arrive-t-on à de telles situations et comment les Camerounais les expliquent-elles?